Imagine finding a single old penny in your drawer and realizing it could change your life forever. Not a crisp $100 bill, not a shiny gold coin, just a simple copper penny from 1937 with no mint mark, sitting quietly in your hand. What if I told you that this unassuming little coin could be worth close to $1 million today? It sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? After all, how could something most people overlook every day hold the power to buy a home, pay off debts, or even fund your dream retirement? But here's the thing. Hidden among the billions of pennies minted in America's history are a few rare gems that collectors would pay fortunes to own. And the 1937 No Mintmark Lincoln wheat penny is one of those mysterious treasures. Before you toss your change jar aside, take a moment, because by the end of this video, you'll not only understand why this penny is so valuable, but you'll also know exactly how to tell if you might be sitting on one and how to sell it for what it's truly worth. So let's dive into the story of how a single cent became a six-figure prize. Back in 1937, the United States was recovering from the Great Depression. Jobs were scarce, bread lines stretched around corners, and every penny truly mattered. The U.S. Mint was busy striking millions of Lincoln wheat cents, small symbols of hope for a country trying to rebuild. Most of these coins were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia ones carried no mint mark at all. Just the simple year, 1937, and the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front. At first glance, there was nothing special about these coins. Millions rolled off the presses, filling cash registers and pockets nationwide. Yet among them, some were struck under conditions that made them extraordinary. Near-perfect strikes, flawless dies, and an unusual level of preservation. A few of those coins, stored carefully over the decades, have survived in near-mint condition, and it's those rare survivors that now command prices beyond imagination. But here's where things get even more fascinating. Not all 1937 No Mintmark pennies are created equal. Most are worth just a few cents, but a tiny handful, graded in pristine condition, have sold for staggering amounts. One such coin, a 1937 Philadelphia wheat penny graded MS-68 red, is currently valued near $999,000. That's right, almost $1 million for 1 cent. Now pause for a second. Think about how many times you've ignored a penny on the ground. You might have even said that famous phrase, "It's just a penny." But maybe, just maybe, that penny could have been your ticket to financial freedom. So what makes these coins so valuable? It's a perfect storm of rarity, condition, and collector demand. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a perfect specimen. The vast majority of 1937 pennies grade between 10 and 40. But once you hit that 65 or higher range, particularly the red designation, which means the copper still shines with its original fiery color, collectors go wild. And there's another layer to this. Because not only are these coins rare, they're also deeply symbolic. The Lincoln wheat penny represents endurance, a coin born during hard times, carrying the face of a leader who guided America through struggle and division. Owning one isn't just about the metal, it's about holding a piece of history that survived war, depression, and decades of change. Now let's break down what this means for you. You might be thinking, okay, but I don't have an MS-68 coin sitting around. Maybe you do. Maybe it's in that jar of coins you inherited from your grandparents, or tucked in an old dresser drawer, forgotten for 50 years. The truth is, these rare pennies don't announce themselves. They're waiting to be rediscovered by someone who knows what to look for. So here's what you should check. First, the year, 1937. Second, make sure there's no small D or S under the date. That means it was minted in Philadelphia. Third, look at its condition. Does it still have a glossy, reddish surface? Are Lincoln's details sharp and crisp? Every line of his coat, every curl of his hair? If so, you may have something special. Of course, don't grab a magnifying glass and start dreaming just yet. Because here comes the hard truth. Condition is everything. A 1937 penny that's scratched, discolored, or worn from years of circulation might only be worth a few cents. But the few that escaped handling, that were stored in a coin folder or hidden away in a bank envelope, can be worth thousands, and the rarest, nearly $1 million. Imagine this. A man in Ohio once sold his 1937 wheat penny for enough to buy a brand new luxury car. Another collector, after grading his coin, realized it was one of the best preserved specimens in existence and sold it for over $900,000. What started as a childhood curiosity became a life-changing discovery. And this brings us to an important question. Why do people pay so much for a penny? It's not just about the metal, it's about rarity, perfection, and the emotional pull of owning something almost no one else has. Coin collectors, known as numismatists, value history and scarcity the way art collectors value a Picasso. When a coin like the 1937 No Mintmark wheat penny appears on the market, bidding wars erupt. Wealthy investors and museums compete to own these tiny symbols of America's story. Now, here's where things get interesting, and where your opportunity lies. The coin market is hotter than ever. Inflation, economic uncertainty, and the rise of collectible investments have made rare coins a powerful asset. People are paying record prices for coins that were once ignored. The 1937 No Mintmark Penny is part of this wave, a symbol of how small things can turn into massive wealth when the timing is right. So what should you do if you think you have one? First, don't clean it. I repeat, do not polish or scrub your coin. Cleaning can destroy its value faster than anything else. Instead, handle it gently by the edges and place it in a soft holder. Then, get it professionally graded by a reputable company like PCGS or NGC. They'll evaluate its authenticity and condition, and if your penny is truly high grade, that's when the real excitement begins. You could list it for sale in an auction or private marketplace and let collectors compete for it. And yes, there are buyers waiting right now. Coins like this don't just sell, they ignite bidding frenzies. But here's the emotional core of all this. It's not only about the money, though that's undeniably thrilling. It's about realizing that value can hide in plain sight, that something so ordinary can hold extraordinary potential. It's about shifting how you see the world, from dismissing the small things to recognizing the opportunities all around you. Maybe that's why stories like these inspire people, because they remind us that wealth doesn't always come from big risks or fancy investments. Sometimes it comes from paying attention, from noticing what others overlook. So let's play with a bit of humor here. How many of you just thought about raiding your piggy bank, or maybe checking under the couch cushions? You're not alone. People have literally found rare coins in parking lots and gas stations. You might laugh, but stranger things have happened. Still, the truth remains. The window for discovering these high-grade coins is closing fast. Each year, more are locked away in collections, and fewer remain in circulation. The longer you wait, the slimmer your chances become. And that's where the urgency comes in. Don't wait until these coins are completely out of reach. Take action now. Think of it this way. What if you're one coin away from transforming your financial future? What if your old change jar holds the key to a new chapter in your life? Throughout history, people have dismissed pennies as worthless. Yet today, the right penny can buy a home, a car, or even a life of freedom. And all it takes is curiosity, the willingness to look closer, to believe that small things can lead to something greater. Let's not forget the legacy behind this coin. Abraham Lincoln's face wasn't chosen by accident. He represents perseverance, integrity, and the belief that anyone, no matter how humble their beginnings, can achieve greatness. The same spirit lives on in every rare 1937 wheat penny still in existence. So here's your takeaway. Start searching. Check your jars, your drawers, your coin albums. Look closely at every penny dated 1937, because the next great coin discovery could be yours. And when you do find one, when you hold that glimmer, of history in your palm, remember this: you're not just holding metal. You're holding a story of endurance, value, and unexpected wealth. A reminder that fortune favors the observant, the patient, and the bold. Because wealth isn't only built, sometimes it's found. So as you look at that old penny, ask yourself one simple question. What if this is the one, and that's the beauty of it? You'll never know until you look. So go ahead. The next time you spot a dusty old coin in a forgotten corner of your home, don't walk past it. Pick it up. Examine it. You might just be holding a piece of history worth $999,000 or more. The world is full of hidden treasures. Some are gold, some are art, and some are just pennies. But every fortune starts with curiosity, and yours might just begin with the smallest coin of all. So, are you ready to find your $1,000,000 penny? This isn't just a story about copper and cents. It's about hidden fortune, untold stories, and the rare chance to transform something ordinary into something life-changing. Because right now, this penny, yes, a single penny, is commanding jaw-dropping prices on the collector's market. One recently valued at an astounding $992,000. Let that sink in. A coin worth less than a pack of gum in 1942 could be your ticket to financial freedom today. So, before you toss your spare change into a Coinstar machine, you might want to take a closer look. Because what we're about to uncover could rewrite your financial future and the story of your family's legacy. But to understand how a 1-cent coin can rise to nearly $1,000,000, we need to go back to the beginning. Picture America in 1942. The world is at war. Factories are roaring, soldiers are marching, and every resource, from metal to manpower, is dedicated to victory. Copper, a critical material for ammunition, was in short supply. The U.S. Mint faced a dilemma: continue using copper for pennies or redirect it to the war effort. So in this period of scarcity and sacrifice, the Mint experimented with different metals. Some 1942 cents were struck with varying compositions as the Mint prepared for the famous 1943 steel penny. Amid this chaos of production, anomalies occurred: tiny variations, minting errors, and rare strikes that would become legends in the coin world decades later. And among them, the 1942 No Mintmark Lincoln wheat cent quietly emerged as one of the rarest and most coveted coins of the 20th century. Now, let's address the question everyone's thinking. What makes this penny so special? At first glance, it looks like any ordinary wheat penny. Lincoln's familiar profile on the front, 2 wheat ears on the back, and the words E pluribus unum. But the secret lies in its minting origin. The No Mintmark signifies that this coin was struck in Philadelphia, where mint marks were intentionally omitted. Most of these pennies were perfectly ordinary. But a few, just a few, were struck using unique planchets, transitional errors, or early die states that gave them distinct characteristics. These tiny differences are invisible to most people, but are pure gold to serious collectors. And here's the kicker: these coins were never meant to survive. Millions were melted, lost, or worn out in circulation. So, finding one today in pristine, uncirculated condition is like discovering buried treasure in your backyard. But how does a penny leap from face value to nearly $1,000,000? It all comes down to rarity, condition, and demand. Collectors live by one golden rule: scarcity drives value. The 1942 No Mintmark wheat penny has it all: historical significance, an emotional connection to wartime America, and a scarcity that sends chills down any collector's spine. Here's where things get exciting, and maybe even a little terrifying. Because while you might have a coin jar filled with pennies you barely notice, one of them could quietly be worth hundreds of thousands, even millions. People have found life-changing coins in the most unexpected places: flea markets, old boxes, inherited collections, and even parking lot change. So, ask yourself, when was the last time you really looked at your change? Could you be holding a piece of history? Now let's talk about what determines the true value of a 1942 No Mintmark wheat penny. 3 key factors decide its worth: condition, rarity, and error type. First, condition. Collectors use a grading scale from poor, P1, to mint state, MS70. The higher the grade, the higher the value. An average circulated 1942. No Mintmark Penny might be worth only a few cents. But a gem-quality, mint-state example, one that looks as if it was struck yesterday, can reach staggering heights. Next, rarity. Not every 1942 penny without a mint mark is valuable. But certain varieties, such as those with double dies, repunched dates, or unique strike errors, command premium prices. One particularly rare specimen with exceptional luster and preservation recently sold for over $992,000 in a private auction. And finally, demand. The Lincoln Wheat Cent is the longest-running and most collected coin series in American history. Millions of collectors chase these coins, from casual hobbyists to serious investors. That demand ensures that rare specimens never stay on the market long. But here's where it gets truly thrilling. Experts believe there are still undiscovered 1942 No Mintmark rarities sitting in private collections and coin jars across America. Could yours be one of them? Imagine finding that one penny that changes everything. The adrenaline, the disbelief, the moment you realize that tiny coin could pay off your mortgage or fund your retirement, it's almost cinematic. And let's not forget, time is your biggest ally or your greatest enemy. As the years pass, fewer of these coins remain in collectible condition. Damage, oxidation, or improper storage can destroy thousands of dollars in value overnight. That's why serious collectors invest in proper coin holders, grading services, and authentication. If you suspect you have a rare 1942 No Mintmark penny, your next step is to get it professionally graded by services like PCGS or NGC. That certification can be the difference between a casual coin and a verified treasure. You might be wondering, how can I tell if mine is valuable? Here's what you should look for. Check the year, 1942. Make sure there's no mint mark below the date. Then examine the coin under good lighting. Does the surface show strong definition and minimal wear? Is Lincoln's hair sharply struck, the lettering crisp, the wheat stalks detailed? If so, you might be holding something truly special. And here's a humorous thought. Most of us spend hours scrolling through online deals. But the best deal you'll ever find could be sitting in your kitchen drawer for free. Now, let's pull back the curtain for a moment and think about what this coin represents beyond money. The 1942 wheat cent isn't just valuable because it's rare. It's valuable because it tells a story of resilience and transformation. Minted during one of the darkest times in global history, it reminds us that even in the face of uncertainty, something enduring and beautiful can be created. It's a symbol of how small things, like a humble penny, can hold immense worth when the world changes around them. And that symbolism resonates deeply with anyone searching for opportunity in overlooked places. Because let's be honest, many of us have old coins lying around, never realizing that hidden among them could be a key to a more abundant life. Collectors and investors who understand this secret have already positioned themselves ahead of the curve. The market for rare U.S. coins has exploded in recent years, with record-breaking auctions and private sales pushing values higher than ever. Coins that sold for a few $1,000s 20 years ago are now worth hundreds of thousands. And experts predict that trend will only accelerate as more people seek tangible historical assets. The window of opportunity is closing fast. As supply diminishes and demand surges, the time to act is now. That's not fear, it's reality. Imagine looking back 5 years from now, wishing you had checked your collection when you had the chance. Don't let that regret become your story. Every collector starts somewhere. For some, it begins with a single penny that sparks curiosity. For others, it starts with a story like this, one that opens their eyes to the wealth hidden in plain sight. And once you take that first step, you begin to see coins not as change, but as channels of history and legacy. So what's your next move? Check your jars, your drawers, your wallets. Examine every wheat penny you come across. Because the 1942 No Mintmark wheat cent could be the treasure you never knew you had. And if you do find one, don't rush to sell it. Knowledge is your greatest weapon. Research, authenticate, and understand its full potential before making a decision. There are countless stories of people selling rare coins for a fraction of their worth because they didn't know what they had. Don't let that be you. As we close, let's reflect on something powerful. A single penny, minted during wartime scarcity, has outlasted decades, wars, and generations. It survived the Great Depression, the Cold War, and the digital age, and now it holds the power to change someone's life forever. That's not just history. It's destiny in your hands, and maybe, just maybe, it's waiting for you to discover it. So tonight, before you go to bed, take a moment to look through your change. That ordinary copper coin you've ignored for years could be worth more than gold. The 1942 No Mintmark wheat penny reminds us that sometimes the smallest things hold the greatest value, and that fortune often hides in the most unexpected places. Because while most people see a penny, the wise see possibility. And those who act on that possibility, well, they're the ones who turn pocket change into prosperity. Stay curious, stay hopeful, and remember, your next million might just be hiding in the palm of your hand. Let's be honest, most of us don't think twice about a penny. It's the coin we drop in tip jars, lose between car seats, or sweep off the counter without a second thought. But what if one of those little coins could buy you a luxury car? Or even a house? The truth is, there's a hidden world beneath the surface of those copper-colored discs, a world filled with mystery, history, and unimaginable value. To understand why the 1962 D penny has captured so much attention, we have to go back in time. Picture it. America, 1962. John F. Kennedy was in the White House. The Cuban Missile Crisis loomed on the horizon, and the country was caught between fear and hope. The U.S. Mint in Denver was busy producing millions of Lincoln cents, each stamped with that tiny D mint mark beneath the date. They were ordinary coins meant for ordinary transactions. But among the flood of copper came a few that were not so ordinary. Coins with rare errors, unusual compositions, and distinctive features that would one day make them worth a fortune. It's fascinating, isn't it, how something so small can hold so much history? The 1962 D penny belongs to the Lincoln Memorial Cent series, designed by Victor David Brenner, featuring the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln. But here's where it gets intriguing. Some of these coins were struck with microscopic differences, minting errors, double dyes, and metal composition variations that slipped past inspection. These imperfections, invisible to most, became the golden ticket for collectors. Think about that for a moment. A mistake, a flaw, is what makes these coins worth a fortune. There's a poetic irony in that, isn't there? Just like in life, sometimes it's our imperfections that make us priceless. But before we get carried away, let's talk numbers. The 1962 D penny in average circulated condition is worth about 1 cent. Nothing special. But a rare 1962 D penny with pristine condition, flawless strike, or unique error can fetch astonishing prices. In fact, one recently sold for nearly $984,000. That's not a typo. $984,000. For a single penny. Now you might be asking, how is that possible? Why would anyone pay nearly $1 million for a coin most of us overlook? The answer lies in rarity and condition. Coins that survive decades without scratches, corrosion, or wear are incredibly rare. Add in a mint error, like a double die obverse or off-center strike, and you've got a collector's dream. But here's where it gets really exciting. You could have one of these coins sitting in your home right now. Maybe it's in an old jar of change, a drawer, or a collection passed down from your grandparents. Every year, people just like you discover coins worth thousands, sometimes millions, without even realizing it. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at your pennies? Not just glanced, but truly examined them? If you knew one could change your financial future, wouldn't you take a closer look? That's the thrill and the fear, because the chance could be slipping through your fingers every day. The market for rare coins has exploded in recent years. Collectors are paying top dollar for coins with unique attributes. And with online auctions, grading services, and coin shows, it's never been easier or more competitive to sell valuable coins. But this also means time is ticking. Every day, more of these rare pennies are being found, sold, or locked away in private collections, never to resurface. The window to cash in is shrinking fast. The 1962 D penny's appeal also lies in its story. The early 1960s marked a period of transition for U.S. coinage. Inflation was rising, copper prices were climbing, and the government began considering cheaper materials. This historical backdrop adds depth to every 1962 penny. It's not just a coin, but a symbol of a changing America. Here's something else that might surprise you. Some 1962 D pennies were struck on leftover planchets from previous years or even foreign coin stock. That means a few of these coins might have slightly different metal compositions, another factor that can skyrocket their value. One expert even described finding a 1962 D struck on a brass alloy intended for another country's coins. Imagine that. Your ordinary penny might literally be made of the wrong metal. Now let's interrupt this serious talk for a second. Be honest. How many of you are already thinking about grabbing a magnifying glass after this video? Don't worry, you're not alone. Thousands of people have started digging through their coins the moment they hear stories like this. And who knows? Maybe the next viral news headline about $1 million penny will have your name in it. But let's go a little deeper. Finding a valuable coin isn't just about luck. It's about knowledge. Knowing what to look for can make all the difference. So what should you check? Start with the basics. Date, mint mark, and condition. Then look for signs of doubling, especially on Lincoln's profile or the lettering. Pay attention to any misaligned edges or unusual coloration. These could all be indicators of minting errors that make your coin rare. It's also crucial to understand the grading process. Coin grading is a standardized system that evaluates a coin's condition on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS-67 or higher, meaning it's in near-perfect condition, can command astronomical prices. That's why professional grading from services like PCGS or NGC can be the difference between a few dollars and a life-changing windfall. Here's where it gets emotional. Imagine you've been holding onto a jar of coins from your parents or grandparents, coins that sat quietly through decades of your family's history. Inside, there's a 1962 D penny. You send it off to be graded, and a few weeks later, the results come back. Mint state 67, full red luster, and an ultra-rare error. The appraiser tells you it's worth $984,000. In that moment, all those years of neglect turn into gratitude. That little penny becomes a legacy, a bridge between generations, and yet most people will never look. They'll let fear, doubt, or disbelief hold them back. Maybe they think it's a scam or they assume their coins are worthless. But here's the truth. Fortune favors the curious. Those who dare to check, to learn, to explore, are the ones who uncover treasures hidden in plain sight. Speaking of curiosity, did you know that the Lincoln penny is the longest-running design in U.S. coinage history? Since 1909, it's been in circulation for over a century. That means every penny in your pocket connects you to more than 100 years of American history. Think of all the hands these coins have passed through. The workers, the dreamers, the soldiers, the builders. And among them, a few carry a secret worth nearly $1 million. Here's a question that might haunt you tonight. What if one of those pennies is yours? The market value of rare coins like the 1962 D penny continues to climb. With inflation, collector demand, and the finite number of surviving specimens, experts predict values could break the $1 million mark soon. Those who act now, who authenticate, grade, and sell, could be sitting on a fortune. Those who wait might watch the opportunity slip away. It's a fascinating mix of emotion and economics. Coins like this ignite excitement but also fear, the fear of missing out. And that fear can be powerful, because the people who take action, who start looking through their collections tonight, could find the kind of wealth most only dream about. Still skeptical? Consider this. The record sale for a Lincoln cent was over $2 million for a 1943 copper penny. If a wartime error coin can reach that level, there's no reason the 1962 D penny can't follow the same path. Especially with high-grade specimens already approaching the $1 million threshold, the trajectory is clear. So what should you do next? Start by checking your coins. Examine every 1962 D penny you find. Learn how to identify key errors and variations. If you think you found something special, don't clean it. Leave it as is and have it professionally appraised. Even if it's not worth hundreds of thousands, it might still bring in hundreds or thousands of dollars. Here's another little pattern interrupt for you. If you suddenly disappear into your attic tonight with a flashlight and a magnifier, don't worry, your secret is safe with me. But when you come back with that life-changing penny, remember who gave you the idea. As we near the end of this journey, remember this simple truth. Wealth doesn't always come in grand packages. Sometimes it's hiding in plain sight, in something as small and overlooked as a penny. The 1962 D. Lincoln 1 cent reminds us that history, rarity, and perseverance can transform even the humblest object into a treasure beyond imagination. So look again. Search your drawers, your jars, your old coin rolls, because every day that passes is a day someone else might find their $1,000,000 penny before you do. The stories are real. The numbers are real. The opportunity is real. You just have to take the first step to believe that the change in your pocket could change your life, because in the end, it's not just about the coin. It's about the dream it represents, the chance to turn the ordinary into the extraordinary, to transform forgotten history into financial freedom, and to write your own story of discovery and wealth. So go ahead, check your pennies. The next 1962 D Mintmark treasure could be waiting for you right now, and it just might be worth $984,000. Most people have a jar of loose change sitting somewhere in their home, maybe on a kitchen counter, in an old coffee tin, or hidden deep inside a drawer. But inside that forgotten pile of pennies could lie your golden ticket, the 1975 No Mintmark Lincoln cent, one of the most mysterious and valuable coins in American history. Imagine waking up tomorrow, cashing in a single penny and walking away a millionaire. It sounds like a fantasy, right? But it's not. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why collectors are paying insane prices for this coin, how to spot one, and what you can do if you think you might have it hiding somewhere in your home. So grab your coin jar, because your financial destiny might be jingling right inside it. Let's start at the beginning. Back in 1975, the U.S. Mint was producing billions of Lincoln cents, the ones with Abraham Lincoln's iconic profile on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Most of these coins were struck at either the Denver Mint, marked with a small D under the year, or the San Francisco Mint, which carried an S for proof coins. But every once in a while, something goes wrong. A missing mark, a misprint, or a rare die error. That's what happened with the 1975 No Mintmark Penny. No Mintmark means no D for Denver, no S for San Francisco, nothing at all. It looks just like an ordinary penny, and that's what makes it so deceptive. Thousands of collectors spent decades overlooking this coin, unaware that it was anything special. But coin experts, those who know the whispers of metal and history, began to notice something odd. Some 1975 pennies without mint marks didn't behave like ordinary coins. Their metallic composition, strike quality, and even their luster suggested something unique. After years of quiet study, it became clear these weren't just production errors. These were ultra-rare survivors, coins struck under highly unusual circumstances, and they should never have existed. You might be wondering, why would a missing mint mark make a coin so valuable? Well, here's where it gets fascinating. In the world of coin collecting, rarity is king. When a minting error happens, especially one that involves missing identifiers like mint marks, the value skyrockets. It's like owning a first edition of a famous book that was printed with a mistake before anyone caught it. Only a handful exist, and collectors will pay almost anything to own one. And here's the catch. Nobody knows exactly how many of these 1975 No Mintmark pennies exist. Some experts say a dozen, others think maybe a few dozen. But that uncertainty only fuels the fire. Every coin dealer, collector, and hobbyist dreams of finding one. Now imagine this. One of these coins surfaces at an auction, and after an intense bidding war, it sells for an unbelievable $978,000. That's not a typo. A penny, a 1-cent piece that once sat in someone's pocket, sold for nearly $1 million. Let that sink in for a moment. How many times have you walked past a penny on the ground and ignored it? How many times have you scooped up spare change just to dump it into a jar? You might be sitting on a fortune without even realizing it. And before you dismiss it, remember this. Life-changing discoveries like this happen all the time. A man in Pennsylvania once found a rare 1943 copper penny in his lunchroom change, worth over $200,000. Another collector discovered a misprinted dollar bill worth more than $150,000. Ordinary people, extraordinary finds. So, let's ask the question that's burning in your mind right now. How can you tell if your penny is one of these rare treasures? First, check the year. It must say 1975. Then look closely at the space just below the date. If there's no small d or s, your heart might skip a beat. But don't celebrate just yet. Most pennies from 1975 were struck in Philadelphia, which didn't use a mint mark that year for circulation coins. So what's the difference? The difference lies in the details, the texture, the shine, the precision of the strike. The genuine 1975 No Mintmark penny that's worth a fortune usually exhibits an unusual sharpness in Lincoln's features, a slightly doubled or crisp edge around the date and lettering, and sometimes subtle variations in the color or weight due to the minting process. Only expert appraisal or professional grading can confirm the authenticity, but finding one is like catching lightning in a bottle. Now, before we go further, here's a quick reality check. Some people hear about these coins and go on a wild goose chase, believing every penny without a mint mark is worth millions. Spoiler alert, it's not. But here's the key. The ones that are rare, the verified authentic errors, are life-changing finds. And this is where things get emotional. Think about the timing. Inflation's rising, the economy feels uncertain, and for many, financial stability seems harder to reach than ever. But what if your path to wealth isn't through a risky stock, a crypto gamble, or a real estate flip, but something you've already owned for years? What if the key to your freedom, to paying off debt, buying your dream home, or retiring early, is sitting quietly in a forgotten coffee can of coins your grandparents left behind? Sometimes destiny hides in plain sight. Let's zoom out for a second. The 1975 No Mintmark penny isn't just valuable because of its rarity. It represents something deeper, the power of attention, patience, and curiosity. Every person who ever became wealthy through rare coins started with a simple mindset, the belief that small things can hold extraordinary worth. And isn't that what life is about? Finding meaning and opportunity where others see nothing. But here's where the story gets even more intriguing. There are rumors, whispered, among seasoned numismatists, that a handful of uncirculated 1975 No Mintmark pennies are still out there, locked in old safety deposit boxes, hidden inside family collections that haven't been touched for decades. Could one of them be sitting in your possession right now? It's possible, and that's what makes this so thrilling. Every week, coin collectors are uncovering hidden gems, coins that sat unnoticed for generations. The market for rare pennies is hotter than ever, and the 1975 No Mintmark penny is among the most sought after of all. As of now, verified examples are valued close to $978,000. And with demand rising, experts predict prices could exceed $1 million within the next few years. Think about that. A coin you can hold between your fingers, smaller than a thumbnail, worth more than most people's homes. But here's where you need to act fast. When the coin market heats up like this, opportunities don't last. Prices can spike overnight, and collectors with deep pockets move quickly. If you've got old coins sitting around, now is the time to check them. Not next month, not next year. The window for discovering and authenticating rare coins before the next price jump is narrowing fast. If you find one, get it appraised by a certified grading service, like PCGS or NGC, immediately. They'll confirm its authenticity, grade its condition, and preserve it for auction. And trust me, once it's verified, you won't have to look far for interested buyers. Because the 1975 No Mintmark penny isn't just a coin. It's a conversation starter, a legend, a piece of American history wrapped in copper and mystery. And for you, it could be the beginning of financial freedom. Let's pause for a moment. Picture what that would mean for your life. No more worrying about bills, no more second-guessing every purchase. Maybe you could finally take that trip you've dreamed of, start that business you've been planning, or simply breathe easier, knowing your future is secure, all because of a penny. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, this can't happen to me, remember, every millionaire who found a rare coin thought the same thing before it happened. They weren't experts, they weren't professional collectors. They were ordinary people who got curious enough to look a little closer, and maybe that's the lesson here. that fortune favors the curious. So tonight, instead of scrolling through endless videos or worrying about the news, grab that jar of coins. Empty it out on your table. Sort through the pennies one by one. Look at the dates. Inspect the mint marks, because among those hundreds of dull copper, coins could be one that glows just a little differently. One that changes your life, forever. And if you do find one, that elusive 1975, No Mintmark Penny, remember this moment. Because that tiny circle of metal might just be your ticket to a life of freedom, comfort, and legacy. Here's the beautiful truth. Wealth doesn't always come from hard labor or luck. Sometimes it's already sitting quietly in your hands, waiting for you to notice, so go check your pennies. Because someone out there is going to find the next $1 million coin, and maybe it'll be you. Before you go, remember, every coin has a story, but only a few can rewrite yours. Don't let yours stay untold. If you enjoyed this video, take a moment to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might have a hidden fortune of their own. Because today, we're not just talking about coins. We're talking about opportunity and the courage to see value where others overlook it. The 1975 No Mintmark Lincoln penny is more than a collector's dream. It's a reminder that even the smallest things, when rare enough, can be worth millions. So keep your eyes sharp, your mind open, and your coins close. Because the next time you hear the sound of change hitting the counter, it might just be the sound of your life changing forever. Let's start with a simple question. When was the last time you actually looked closely at a penny? Most of us drop them into jars, glove boxes, or couch cushions, thinking they're worthless. But what if, sitting among all that spare change, is a coin that could change your life? It all began in 1982, a year of change for the U.S. Mint. America was facing rising copper prices, and producing pennies made of pure copper was becoming too expensive. So the Mint decided to switch from copper to zinc, coated with a thin layer of copper to keep appearances. That year, the Lincoln cent existed in two types, one made of mostly copper and one made of zinc. But here's where things get interesting. In all the confusion of this transition, one coin slipped through the cracks, a 1982 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. No D for Denver, no S for San Francisco, nothing. Just a clean blank space beneath the date, a simple mistake that turned an ordinary coin into a six-figure treasure. Collectors call it the 1982 No Mintmark Lincoln penny, and it's one of the most sought-after error coins in U.S. history. The mystery lies not just in the missing mark, but in the timing. In 1982, both copper and zinc coins were being minted, and the Philadelphia Mint, which normally produced pennies without a mark, wasn't supposed to make that combination. Yet somehow, a few slipped out into circulation, coins that technically shouldn't exist. Think about that for a second. Millions of people spent these pennies without realizing their worth. They fell into vending machines, got dropped in parking lots, or forgotten in piggy banks. And now, decades later, a few lucky finders are uncovering them, and cashing in big. One verified sale reached an incredible $971,000. Just imagine turning over a penny you found in an old coin jar and realizing it's worth more than your house. That's not fantasy. That's history repeating itself, one coin at a time. But let's pause for a moment. You might be thinking, how do I know if I have one of these? Before you run to the nearest pawn shop, it's crucial to understand the difference between a rare 1982 No Mintmark penny and a regular one. Because here's the thing. There were several variations minted that year. There are 7 known versions of the 1982 Lincoln cent, and only one is the true $1 million variety. The key difference lies in two details: the metal composition and the lettering on the date. The rare one is a small date penny made of pure copper with no mint mark. Here's a simple way to test if your penny is copper or zinc. Grab a kitchen scale. If it weighs around 3.1 grams, you've got copper. If it's closer to 2.5 grams, that's zinc. The rare copper version, with no mint mark, is the jackpot. Now, you might be wondering, why does the mint mark even matter? In the world of coin collecting, every mark tells a story. It reveals where the coin was made: Denver, San Francisco, or Philadelphia. Missing that mark can signal an error, and errors are gold mines in numismatics. They represent rarity, and rarity means value. But rarity isn't enough. Condition is everything. A coin that's been in circulation for years might fetch hundreds or thousands, but a mint state example, preserved perfectly as if frozen in time, is where the real fortune lies. That's why some collectors go decades searching for one pristine 1982 No Mintmark Penny to complete their collections. Now, let's add a bit of suspense. There's a twist to this story that most people don't know. You see, counterfeiters have caught on. They've started altering normal pennies, removing mint marks or polishing them to mimic the rare version. It's a dangerous game because one tiny mistake can turn a hopeful discovery into a worthless fake. So before you sell or celebrate, get your coin authenticated by a professional grading service, like PCGS or NGC. These companies verify authenticity and assign a grade that determines its true market value. And let's talk about that market for a second, because this is where things get exciting. In recent years, the demand for rare coins has skyrocketed. Investors are treating coins not just as collectibles, but as assets. As the economy fluctuates, tangible items with limited supply, like rare coins, are becoming alternative investments. The 1982 No Mintmark Penny has become the holy grail of modern coin collecting. Just picture this. A simple coin worth 1 cent in 1982, now commanding nearly $1 million in 2025. That's a return on investment that beats the stock market, real estate, and even gold. And it's not just about the money, it's about owning a piece of American history. But what's even more fascinating is how many of these coins could still be out there, hidden in plain sight. Every day, people are discovering old jars of coins left behind by parents or grandparents, not realizing the treasure within. If you're over 30, there's a good chance your childhood change jar holds a piece of the past that could change your future. Here's a thought. How many times have you dismissed a penny as worthless? Maybe even tossed it aside. Next time you see one from 1982, pick it up. That single moment of curiosity could lead to a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Now you might be asking, why would anyone pay nearly $1 million for a penny? It's about more than metal and mint marks. It's about scarcity, story, and prestige. Serious collectors and investors crave what others can't have. And when something as common as a penny becomes almost mythical in its rarity, it commands the price of legend. There's a psychological thrill, too. Imagine the feeling of uncovering something that most people will never even notice. That surge of discovery, that instant rush. It's the same energy that drives explorers, entrepreneurs, and dreamers. The 1982 No Mintmark Penny isn't just a coin. It's a symbol of how overlooked things can hold unimaginable value. But here's where it gets urgent. Every day, more of these coins are found, sold, or lost forever. The window of opportunity is closing. Once collectors secure the remaining verified pieces, prices will skyrocket, and availability will vanish. This is the kind of opportunity that rewards action, not hesitation. So check your drawers, your car cup holders, your grandparents' old coin collections. Look for that 1982 penny without a mint mark with the small date, weighing 3.1 grams. You never know. Your next trip down memory lane could lead straight to financial freedom. Let's not forget, stories like this don't happen often. The rare combination of historical timing, minting error, and scarcity makes this penny one in billions. That's why when it hits the auction block, collectors battle fiercely for the chance to own it. And the numbers prove it. Prices have jumped from a few hundred to hundreds of thousands in just a decade. What's most incredible is how this tiny coin continues to inspire. It reminds us that opportunity doesn't always come dressed in gold or glitter. Sometimes, it's a dull copper disc in your palm that you've overlooked 100 times before. Now, imagine the transformation that could follow. You find the coin, you verify it, and suddenly your life changes. Debt disappears. Dreams once on hold become possible. The life of wealth and freedom you've always wanted. Suddenly, it's within reach. And it all started with one penny. That's the magic of stories like this. They blend history with possibility, the ordinary with the extraordinary. They remind us that fortune doesn't always favor those who chase it. It often finds those who stay curious, observant, and ready to act. So what will you do after this video ends? Will you shrug and move on? Or will you take a few minutes to check that jar of coins gathering dust in your home? Because maybe, just maybe, your future fortune is hiding inside. Remember, the rare 1982 No Mintmark Lincoln penny isn't just about money. It's about awareness, about noticing what others ignore. The same mindset that finds a rare coin can also spot hidden opportunities in life and business. Wealth doesn't always start big, it starts with paying attention. And here's a little humor to break the tension. Who knew the phrase, "a penny for your thoughts" could one day mean a penny for your million? That's the kind of irony life loves to deliver when you least expect it. So as you go about your day, keep your eyes open, your mind sharp, and your curiosity alive. Because in a world where most people see pennies as worthless, you now know better. You know that history has a funny way of rewarding those who look twice. 1 cent. No Mintmark. $1 million story. Don't wait for luck to find you. Go find it. Check your change. Check your past. And maybe, just maybe, discover that your path to wealth has been sitting quietly in your pocket all along. This story isn't about luck. It's about awareness and how ordinary Americans, people just like you, have turned pocket change into life-changing wealth. But before you rush to check your coin jar, you need to know why this coin is so valuable, how to spot one, and what mistakes could cost you a fortune. So stay with me until the end. Because the difference between 1 cent and $1 million could be sitting right under your nose, or jingling in your cup holder. Let's rewind the clock to 1987. Ronald Reagan was president. Gas was under $1, and the Lincoln Memorial penny was the workhorse of American currency. Millions of them rolled out of the Denver Mint that year, over 4.5 billion to be exact. So how could one of them, among billions, end up being worth nearly $1 million? That's where the mystery begins. You see, the Denver Mint was known for precision, but even the best machinery can make mistakes. And when it does, collectors take notice. A few 1987 D Lincoln pennies left the mint with rare minting errors, subtle anomalies invisible to most people, but pure treasure to coin experts. Some had off-center strikes, double dies, or even wrong planchet errors, meaning they were accidentally struck on a blank meant for another coin altogether. Imagine holding a penny that was supposed to be a dime. That kind of mistake turns an ordinary cent into a collector's dream. But here's the real kicker. Not every rare 1987 D penny looks unusual at first glance. Some of the most valuable ones appear completely normal to the naked eye. That's what makes this story so thrilling. And a little terrifying. Because right now, countless Americans could be spending or losing coins worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, just because they don't know what to look for. Let me ask you this. How many times have you dumped out a handful of change into a tip jar or Coinstar machine? Have you ever stopped to think that one of those coins could pay off your mortgage, fund your dream retirement, or send your kids to college debt-free? You might laugh, but people said the same thing before someone discovered a 1943 copper penny worth over $1.7 million. Sometimes the most valuable treasures don't glitter. They clink. Now, what makes the 1987 D penny so exceptional? It's a combination of rarity, condition, and human curiosity. Collectors crave coins that tell a story. Coins that survived decades without wear or that escaped the mint's scrutiny with unique flaws. The top-graded examples of the 1987 D penny, especially those with a flawless red finish, graded MS-68 or higher by the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, are fetching astronomical prices. When a pristine example surfaced at auction, numismatists, the elite coin collectors, went into a frenzy. Bidding wars broke out, and what started as a modest opening offer skyrocketed into 6 figures. And then it happened. The hammer fell. A single penny, minted in Denver in 1987, sold for $966,000. Pause for a moment. Let that sink in. 1 penny, the smallest denomination in U.S. currency, worth more than most homes in America. If that doesn't make you rethink the value of what's in your pocket, nothing will. Now, before you go rummaging through your drawers or turning your house upside down, let's talk about what separates a fortune from a fake lead. The first sign of potential value is the mint mark, the small D under the year 1987, which indicates it was struck in Denver. Next, check the condition. The shinier, cleaner, and more preserved the penny, the better. Coins that have been untouched by human hands for decades, still gleaming copper red, are the ones that can command incredible sums. And here's where most people get it wrong. They assume that old automatically means valuable. But in coin collecting, rarity and condition matter far more than age. A 1900 penny might be worth a few dollars, while a 1987 penny could buy you a mansion, if it's the right one. Let me share a story that perfectly captures this. A man in Oklahoma was cleaning out his late father's workshop when he found a jar of old coins. Most were typical pocket change. But one penny stood out, bright, nearly flawless, with that distinctive D mark. He almost tossed it aside. Instead, he decided to get it appraised. Turns out that simple penny was a near-perfect mint error. When it sold, the proceeds changed his family's life forever. That's the magic and the madness of rare coins. It's not just about the money. It's about the thrill of discovery, the connection to American history, and the power to turn something ordinary into something extraordinary. But let's be honest. This story also ignites a bit of fear, doesn't it? The fear that maybe, just maybe, you've already let a fortune slip through your fingers. That you've spent a rare coin without realizing it. Because millions of rare coins circulate among us every day, passed unknowingly in gas stations, grocery stores, and coffee shops. Imagine this. You're at a diner, you pay your bill, and hand over a penny that could have been worth nearly $1 million. That single moment could be the most expensive breakfast of your life. That's why awareness matters. And urgency. Because as collectors and investors snap up these rare pennies, the available supply is shrinking fast. Every day that passes, another coin is lost to time, cleaned, damaged, or melted down. The window to profit from this hidden opportunity is closing, and those who act now stand to gain the most. If you're wondering how to start, the first step is simple. Look. Check your pocket change, coin jars, old purses, and piggy banks. You never know what treasures might be hiding there. Second, educate yourself. There are reputable grading services like PCGS or NGC that can authenticate and appraise your coins. A small fee could yield life-changing knowledge. And third, connect with other collectors and dealers. The rare coin market is booming, a mix of history, art, and investment that's attracting everyone from retirees to Wall Street investors. With inflation rising and digital currencies fluctuating, tangible assets like rare coins are becoming a trusted hedge and a symbol of prestige. It's funny, isn't it? We chase high-tech investments and digital tokens, yet the humble penny, a symbol of the past, might just be the smartest investment of the future. Now let's circle back to the emotional core of this story. This isn't just about coins. It's about the mindset of opportunity, of not dismissing what seems small or insignificant. Because sometimes the smallest things hold the greatest value. The 1987 D penny is a reminder that wealth isn't always about hustle or luck. Sometimes it's about curiosity, patience, and paying attention, and maybe that's a reflection of life itself. We overlook the little moments, the small chances, the quiet opportunities. We assume they're worthless until one of them turns out to be the thing that changes everything. Here's something else most people don't realize. Coin collecting isn't just for experts or historians. It's for anyone who values the thrill of discovery and the chance to turn knowledge into wealth. Right now, there's a community of ordinary Americans building financial freedom through this hobby. Retirees who fund their golden years with rare coin sales. Parents who pay for college by finding hidden treasures in rolls of pennies. Collectors who've built small fortunes from nothing more than curiosity and persistence. So ask yourself this. When was the last time you truly looked at a penny? Not just saw it, but looked at it. Because the next time you hold one, you might be holding a fortune. And yes, I know what you're thinking. What are the odds? Well, they're higher than you might expect. The number of known high-grade 1987 D pennies is extremely limited, but they're still out there. And the only people who find them are the ones who take the time to look. It's a bit like mining for gold, only the gold is already in circulation. Every coin you touch could be a ticket to wealth, if you know how to spot it. So here's your challenge. Tonight, grab that jar of loose change sitting on your dresser. Spread it out. Check the dates. Look for that small D under 1987. Examine the condition. And if one shines brighter than the rest, don't brush it off. Take it seriously. Because you might just be holding the next six-figure penny. And if you think that's impossible, remember this. Every record-breaking coin ever sold started as something ordinary. A coin in someone's pocket, a piece of copper that seemed worthless, until someone paid attention. Before we wrap up, let's touch on one last truth. Opportunities like this come and go, but knowledge lasts forever. The world of rare coins is filled with untold stories, hidden fortunes, and second chances. Maybe your story starts today, with a single penny. So, as you go about your day, keep your eyes open and your mind curious. Because history is literally in your hands. And who knows, and the next time someone tells you it's just a penny, you might just smile, knowing better. After all, it's not just a penny. It could be your $1 million moment.